Gregory Andrews is a former Australian ambassador to no fewer than 9 African countries. He held senior jobs at the Department of Foreign Affairs in Canberra as well. Is now going on a hunger strike in front of Parliament House. He's a climate alarmist who says he won't eat until the government stops our massive coal and gas exports and more.
Stop coal and gas exports. Stop fossil fuel subsidies. Stop chopping down our native forests. Until those demands are met, I'll be here every day at Parliament House and I won't eat anything.
He now joins me on day 7 of going without food. Gregory Andrews, you must be very hungry by now.
G'day, Andrew. Actually, believe it or not, I'm not hungry. I've never done this before, but after about 3 days, pretty much my gastrointestinal system shut down and I went into starvation mode. So I'm not hungry at all. I'm out the front of Parliament House every day, as you said. You know, the Australian government provides $11 billion a year of fossil fuel subsidies to big companies. That could fund 140,000 teachers or nurses positions or build 22 world-class hospitals. They spend more on fossil fuel subsidies than they do on the army, but climate change is a huge risk to our national security, and they're basically ruining our national security by risking climate change. Sorry, I can't hear you that well. The volume is very good.
On global warming schemes, I tell you what, you'd spend 10 times more on the poor. But listen, I want to ask. I mean, the subsidies, of course, I won't go down there because you're talking actually about fuel rebates for offshore use of vehicles mainly. So that's not quite fair. But anyway, my point is this: is it fair or mature to stage this hostage drama featuring yourself, where you say, "Do as I say, or I'll kill myself"?
Andrew, by the end of this century, when my children are alive, 3 to 6 billion people won't have a safe place to live on Earth if the emissions keep growing like they are. And the Albanese government isn't listening. You know, I wrote letters to Anthony Albanese and he hasn't even responded.
I just want to get back to my central question, please. Because we've all got to, you know, we could have a long argument about this. You've got the Greens Party in Parliament.
Okay, let me answer that question. I'll answer your question.
The democratic process. If people don't want what they like, they don't have to vote for them if they do. The question is,
let me answer it.
Do you think it's fair to say, do what I do, I say, or I'll kill myself?
Yes, I do, because the only person that will suffer is me. And my 83-year-old mother is fully behind me. My wife and my children are fully behind me. And the government needs to wake up to the reality that it's not doing enough. Andrew, I know many listeners and 60% of Australians didn't support The Voice, and I respect that. I respect the decisions Australia made. But I respected Anthony Albanese for having the bravery and courage to push that, even though he knew he'd probably lose it. But he also made a commitment to the Australian people to get climate change under control. And I want to see the same bravery and the same commitment from our Prime Minister.
Right.
I want him to keep his promises.
Well, on that point, you know the government cannot possibly end coal and gas exports, and certainly not in the couple of weeks you've got to live if you're not going to eat until they do. That would what you're
Andrew,
asking
if
would
you have a look at what
economy. It would devastate the federal budget. Just let me ask the question.
Andrew, if you don't mind just being a bit fair to me, I've been on a hunger strike for. No, I am trying to answer your question, but you keep interrupting me, and I'd like you to show me some respect. I've actually been. I've starved myself for 7 weeks.
You're interrupting
and
me.
You're bullying me.
We'll have to mute your answers unless you let me ask the question. No, I'm not bullying you. I'm asking a question. I haven't asked it yet.
Rude.
Until I ask it, you haven't got a question.
Actually, at the moment, you're shouting at me.
They cannot do what you want. It would devastate the economy. It would devastate the federal budget, and a lot of Australians would suffer. And it cannot happen in the 2 weeks you've got to live if you stop eating. You'll be dead in a couple of weeks.
Andrew, so let me answer that question now. You have asked me that question twice, and I have not said that the Australian government needs to phase out fossil fuel exports in the next 2 weeks. What I'm saying is we need a hard and real commitment from the Albanese government to break free from Australia's fossil fuel addiction. And I'm doing that for my children, and I'm doing it for our country. And because I want my kids to grow up on a safe planet. And let me give you an example. My daughter is at Melrose High, a public school here in Canberra that Katie Gallagher attended. And when Katie Gallagher finished at that school, she had a future. But my daughter doesn't have the future that Katie Gallagher has. And Katie Gallagher sits in the Parliament House behind me, and she approves billions of dollars a year in fossil fuel subsidies that are destroying the future of our children,
that kind of
but destroying Australia's national security. I'm sorry you feel that way, Andrew.
You're freaking your daughter out. You're freaking your daughter out by
suggesting behind me 100
that she hasn't got a future.
Andrew, you don't know.
Gregory, the science is against you.
My daughter thinks.
Well,
my daughter, you don't know what my daughter thinks. My daughter is with me.
You're telling her she hasn't got a future.
She wants a future.
Well,
she wants a future, and that's why she backs me for doing this.
If you keep going this way, you've got only 2 weeks left to live with this stupid idea that your daughter hasn't got a future. You're betraying her, and you'll be betraying her double if you keep going with this. But we shall see. If you do, we'll come back to you in 2 weeks and see what's happening.
Look, that's great. I really do wish you had better manners. I wish you had better manners because you're rude.
Well, I wish you had more sense, to be honest. I wish you were a better parent. Thank you. Goodbye.